I'm in Seattle, Washington. This is the area that I was born in. So just take a look at the general Seattle area. It's going to outline the city limits of Seattle here, so that's fine, I guess. Now, I would never really want to live in Seattle, but this just gives you an idea of what's going on here. So I have to move up the price a little bit here, but here you go. If you want, do you want to live on a boat? This looks like a trailer on a boat for $325,000. It doesn't look that bad inside, but it's 240 square feet. So is that like the size of a college dorm? Maybe it's a little bit bigger. So that's what 325 grand will get you. It is close to everything. Let's see, what else do we have here? A high-rise apartment or condo, I guess. Downtown Seattle. Looks like there's probably a couple homeless people just sitting outside there when you get back. 1,000 square feet, $900,000. So only $5,400 a month will get you into this place here, into a huge building with limited parking, I'm sure, and it's 30 years old. It's built in 1991. Oh, and sorry, your HOA is $1,100 a month as well. So there you go. I think that might be a good option for me, Right there, $900,000 for 2-bed, 2-bath hellhole. That sounds good. 900. 550 only for this. Wow. It looks like a tough shed right there. So that's worth something. This house itself looks, I don't know, like maybe some plant lady lived here. This one actually looks the best so far that I've seen. Does have 2 baths. It is 1,100 square foot. You are kind of in the woods there. It was built in 1951. That's before both of my parents were born. So it's only, 70 years old? Wow, look at the activity on this. 465 saves. So all this tells me is that a lot of people are just looking. There's a ton of people that are just looking. They're not necessarily qualified people, though. I'd say probably none of them are. Look at this, man. 800,000. Oh, 2,200 square feet. That's not small. It looks relatively updated. Built in 1944. So, anyways, I won't click through all of them, but this just kind of gives you $1 million for this house right here. This red house doesn't look overly big. Anyway, this is the reality of the situation here in this general area. Basically, any house that's, I would say, decent is, that house is probably decent. So it's close to $600,000 on the very low end. And then on the high end, you're talking well over $1 million for something that's really, really not that good. I would never, ever, look at this. Look at this. $1.1 million for this. You move this house to anywhere else in the country, this house is maybe $300,000. Maybe a little bit more. It actually looks like it's been updated a little bit, but it's still, when was it built? It was built in 1943. It's been updated, but let's be serious here. So outside of the city is maybe a little bit less, but honestly not really. Some of these areas can be more expensive. Bellevue, for example, is actually more expensive. So this house, I think this is probably a good example. Take a look at this house. I think this house in Florida would be about $325,000 maybe. Maybe $350,000, but it's a 35-year-old house almost. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's a nice house. But $1 million? $1 million? $6,000 a month for this house? It's got a nice yard. I mean, it has a driveway. It's got a garage. I mean, it's a relatively bigger size lot, but $1 million for a 30-year-old house. Anywhere else in the country, I mean, this house is $250 to $400, you know? So, hey, it's great, you know, if you're someone who, you know, if it makes sense for you to live in the Seattle area or any one of these cities that are just such overpriced, I think the only reason you'd want to live in one of these cities is because you work, or your income is tied to you, you know, being in that city. If you can make the same amount of money or very close to the same amount of money in a different city, I don't know why you'd want to live in one of these cities that's so expensive. That's my realization is I don't make enough money to be anything more than a peasant in Seattle, at least currently. So my situation, there's always choices, right? So here, this house here it's only $3.5 million for this. So there you go. Your choice is, hey, you have to try to make more money. That's always an option. You can always try to make more money. I'd probably have to make about 3 to 4 times more amount of money, or at least double, to even consider buying a house here. But or the other option is, hey, I'm just gonna roll the dice a little bit and leave. Like I can make a lot less money elsewhere. Well, maybe not a lot more money, but I can allow myself to make less money elsewhere because the cost of living in a different area is going to be so much lower, right? And housing is like the biggest thing. Food is, you can't really impact like what the food costs at the grocery store, right? But all of these houses, you know, if you go somewhere else in the country, are maybe 25 to 40% as expensive as these houses are. And some of these houses are old. I mean, they're not even recently built. Even like this one, this is obviously more of like a mansion house, but it's built in 1982. So I just don't think you get a lot for your money here, unless you just make such an obscene amount of money where you don't even care, which I think there's enough people that obviously do, but, you know, millions of dollars for what I would consider to be a nice house. It's not like it's a very nice house, but, you know, you're getting into ridiculous territory. What people can afford these houses, even like this one. This is a 4-bed, 2-bath house that's not even 2,000 square feet. It was built in 1967. I mean, obviously it looks like it's been updated and it's nice inside, but $1.6 million. $10,000 a month. 10 grand. Little backyard. You know, that's just a modest house. This is just a modest house. I mean, the inside is updated, but the house is totally modest. You know, you drive by this house anywhere else in the country, you'd say this is like a starter house, right? I mean, it's a starter house. $1.6 million. So it doesn't add up. I think there's just way more people that cannot afford this than people that can. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous. This is $10,000 before any other expense, right? Before any other real expense in your life. Gas, you know, bills. If you have kids, obviously you have to be making $250,000, like at the minimum, to even be comfortable to enter into this kind of agreement with this house. So, you know, more power to you if you can, I guess. But that's a lot of money for really what I would say is not really a. It's not like you're living in style here. It's just kind of a nicer starter house. That's what I would say. It's probably 300,000 anywhere else in the country, maybe less. Here you go. I mean, this house. This is $2.8 million for this house. 2.8. Anywhere else, this house is at the most 500,000. I mean, it's nice inside. It's nice. Oh, it's 4,500 square feet. Okay, so it's bigger. I mean, anywhere else in the country, this house is nowhere near $1 million. It's maybe 500,000-600,000 at the most. Maybe 750 at the absolute most. I mean, it's nice, right? It's a new build, 5 years old. So I don't know. I'd like to see the people that are buying these houses. Maybe it's just a bunch of I don't know, Chinese people or foreign investment or whatever. But if you just work a normal job and you make, you know, $5,000-6,000 a month, even $10,000 a month, you know, after tax, or even before tax or after tax, right? If you make $100,000 after tax, like you're making 150 before tax, roughly. So, and you'd be nowhere near being able to afford this. Nowhere near. Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. It's just crazy. Obviously, I guess there's people paying these prices, but come on. How can you feel good about paying like such an insane amount of money for what they're giving you here? It just doesn't make sense. So, hey, I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Anyways,